Outsourcing your own ego sounds like a rejected science fiction script. But today we are tracking how one billionaire's quest to shape reality scales from a single dedicated reply guy on social media all the way to orbital AI data centers in space. We are analyzing a futurism report on Elon Musk's Twitter habits and a static media deep dive into XAI's new coding agent.
Skyrocketing from 0 followers in 2024 to over 200,000 today requires functioning as a full-time dedicated hype machine.
Like the account goes by the name XFreeze. The journalists at Futurism cite a Washington Post investigation that tracked this completely anonymous profile down to a man living in India. His daily routine is basically waking up and lavishing praise on the owner of the platform.
Posting 3 out of every 4 updates entirely about Musk's businesses or his persistent grievances against wokeness and crime exposes the underlying strategy. You target the exact emotional pressure points of the person controlling the algorithm.
So you essentially turn an unpaid fan into a personalized public relations department. Joan Donovan, an assistant professor of journalism at Boston University, told Futurism this relentless adulation operates as a literal cultural hack. She gave him this incredible quote, "Musk loves to be glazed, and this person is the donut factory."
Tracing the origin story of this account reveals the raw mechanics behind that cultural hack. Shortly after launching the profile in early 2024, XFreeze literally tweeted into the void asking how to reach 100 followers. Months of posting generic tech news generated 0 traction.
Wait, he then pivoted entirely to the flunky act.
Telling his non-existent audience to sit tight while he worked his way up the ladder marked the exact moment he stopped trying to create original value. Farming the ego of the platform owner became the sole objective.
And the content of those viral posts reveals a highly curated public image. Like, XFreeze focuses entirely on incredibly targeted messaging. Futurism highlights one specific post calling Starlink the invisible backbone of Earth.
Reframing a commercial satellite internet service as an indispensable pillar of human civilization feeds directly into the owner's self-perception. Bringing this exact dynamic into a courtroom fundamentally alters the legal stakes of the strategy.
During the blockbuster trial against OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, a judge explicitly ordered Musk to stop tweeting about the case. Gag orders exist to prevent high-profile individuals from using their massive platforms to taint the jury pool.
Complying on taper lasted just long enough for him to begin quoting XFreeze posts, echoing his own sensational claims against OpenAI.
You know, going grocery shopping feels like getting pickpocketed in broad daylight. But this proxy strategy feels like getting put in a timeout by a teacher. So you just make your little brother go yell your insults at the playground bully for you. You are still throwing the punches. You just hide behind someone else's vocal cords to dodge the legal consequences.
Categorizing this specific tactic as narrative laundering, Donovan notes he needed his opinions to appear as though they were organically bubbling up from an independent source. Mainstream press coverage of his lawsuit against OpenAI was failing to meet his personal expectations.
So he secured a megaphone he could control without leaving his own fingerprints on the handle. Journalists report on the viral post. The narrative enters the news cycle, effectively neutralizing the gag order.
Operating a massive proxy operation like this forms part of a larger strategy. Futurism describes as a quest to construct a customized reality. They claim he bought the platform, which they describe as a previously left-leaning epicenter of internet culture, to transform it into an environment where he can safely share edgy memes and racist conspiracy theories.
We are reporting their specific framing of the situation here to remain entirely neutral on the politics.
Reviewing those claims straight from the Futurism report highlights the massive scale of this reality distortion field. The publication notes he even created an alternative version of Wikipedia called Grokipedia because he found the original site too politically correct.
Wow, so his AI model, Grok, was similarly designed as an anti-woke answer to the chatbots produced by the rest of the tech industry.
Re-engineering the social layer with proxy accounts and rewriting the encyclopedia cannot overcome technological reality. The narrative crashes into hard software engineering limits at XAI.
Musk publicly admitted XAI is losing the coding race to Anthropic's Claude Code and OpenAI.
Admitting defeat in the foundational coding race represents a massive concession for a company built entirely on the premise of out-engineering the competition. Fixing this technological deficit required rebuilding XAI from the ground up, leading directly to the launch of Grok Build.
Static Media reports XAI launched Grok Build as a powerful new coding agent and command line interface targeting professional software engineers.
Operating through a command line interface, or CLI, removes the graphical menus and buttons you see in typical consumer software. Developers interact directly with the system using pure text commands.
Oh, bypassing the graphical user interface allows professional engineers to execute complex tasks much faster. They integrate the AI directly into their local development environments.
Instructing staffers to ensure Grok matches Claude's performance across all these professional tasks reportedly became the top executive priority. Releasing a coding agent specifically for professional engineers signals a serious attempt to court the developer community.
But the access model completely destroys that ambition. Grok Build is an early beta release. The only way you can access it is through a Super Grok Heavy subscription. The price tag on that tier is, wow, $300 a month.
Forcing developers to pay $300 a month for beta software fundamentally alters the relationship between creator and consumer. Open source tools or reasonably priced beta programs rely on goodwill.
Like, they are charging an astronomical premium to outsource their own quality assurance testing. Paying $300 a month for beta software feels like buying a luxury sports car that arrives without a steering wheel. You hand over a massive premium just to serve as a crash test dummy for a product the manufacturer openly admits is still playing catch-up to Claude.
Rushing a product to market to catch up with competitors inevitably causes severe structural damage. A study by the British nonprofit Centre for Countering Digital Hate, cited by Static Media, analyzed the output of Grok.
They found the AI generated 3 million sexualized images. Embedded within that massive dataset were 23,000 images featuring children.
Generating an industrial-scale volume of illegal content happens when you remove safety guardrails in the name of unrestricted speech. You accidentally build an automated pornography generator.
The initial mandate for Grok was to operate as a maximum truth-seeking AI. They marketed the platform as an alternative to the safety protocols used by competitors.
Utilizing techniques like reinforcement learning from human feedback teaches competing models what to avoid. They spend millions paying humans to rank outputs and penalize harmful content.
So Grok removed that penalization layer. The model lacked internal understanding of legal boundaries, leading directly to the mass production of non-consensual imagery.
Hitting the hard wall of child safety laws forced a complete reversal of their original design philosophy. The developers scrambled to patch the system.
Static Media reports XAI quietly implemented internal policies blocking users from editing images of real people in revealing clothing like bikinis.
Deploying censorship algorithms contradicts their entire brand identity. They spent years mocking the rest of the tech industry for utilizing these exact same safety protocols.
The entire system buckles under the weight of its own contradictions. The social feeds are restricted by judges. The AI output is restricted by digital watchdogs.
Escaping terrestrial oversight entirely motivates the next massive structural pivot. SpaceX acquired XAI in February to form the combined entity SpaceXAI.
Wait, they immediately filed an application with the Federal Communications Commission to launch millions of satellites for an orbital data center.
Filing an FCC application for millions of satellites requires an unprecedented logistical pipeline. Placing an AI data center in the vacuum of space bypasses local zoning laws and escapes the physical limitations of terrestrial power grids.
Pause. Millions. A single server rack floating in low Earth orbit represents one thing. Millions of them bouncing my code off space and back represents something entirely different. Managing latency with that setup sounds impossible.
Managing a dispersed orbital computing network introduces severe latency challenges. A signal traveling from your laptop to a satellite and back takes time dictated entirely by the speed of light.
And training complex AI models requires thousands of processors communicating in microseconds. Splitting those processors across millions of satellites introduces an unavoidable physical delay.
Compensating for that physical delay requires redefining the fundamental architecture of data centers. Surviving the physical environment of space adds another layer of extreme complexity.
The environment requires intense radiation hardening. Earth's atmosphere protects terrestrial data centers from cosmic rays. In orbit, a single high-energy particle striking a memory chip can literally flip a 1 to a 0.
Corrupting the data with bit flips destroys the training process. Training a delicate AI model in an environment bombarded by cosmic radiation demands entirely new architectures to constantly correct those errors.
We also have the thermal problem. On Earth, data centers require millions of gallons of water or massive HVAC systems to keep the servers from melting. In the vacuum of space, there is no air to carry the heat away.
Radiating that heat out into the blackness of space requires massive thermal management systems. Overcoming the radiation, the thermal vacuum, and the speed of light demands the most elite engineering talent on the planet.
You can put servers in the vacuum of space, But you still need human beings to write the code. Alienating those human beings compromises the entire orbital strategy.
Highlighting a report from the information, Static Media documented a severe talent drain. More than 50 researchers and engineers quit the combined company since the merger.
Replacing 50 top-tier AI researchers presents a nearly impossible challenge in the current labor market. We are talking about the senior engineers responsible for training the core logic models.
Watching critical coding and AI training personnel walk out the door signals a massive collapse of internal confidence. Competitors like Anthropic and OpenAI aggressively recruit that exact demographic.
The logic of building orbital data centers shatters when the core team abandons the project. The servers can survive zero gravity. The underlying models still require talent sitting at desks on Earth.
Launching a satellite network to run an AI fails completely if the engineers required to program the system refuse to work for you. Fixing mathematical and architectural deficits requires intense focus and highly specialized labor.
Launching millions of satellites distracts from the quiet reality of 50 engineers clearing out their desks. The physical infrastructure expands while the intellectual foundation disintegrates.
Manufacturing endless praise on a social feed with a proxy account ignores the engineering reality. Selling a $300 beta subscription cannot convince a team of elite engineers to stay in a burning building.
They watched the company struggle to match Claude's performance and decided to exit the vehicle before it crashed.
Demanding constant external validation drives the social media strategy, while unrestricted technology dictates the initial AI development. Escaping terrestrial oversight motivates the orbital data centers.
Each step in that progression demands abandoning the previous system. The platform becomes an echo chamber. The AI generates catastrophic safety violations. The hardware strategy ignores earthly physics. The terrestrial offices empty out.
Basing a tech empire on constant external validation, from manufactured social media praise to physical isolation in orbit, raises a massive existential question. How long can it survive when the actual human talent refuses to participate?
Goodbye.